So Mitch McConnell today on the Senate floor, in his first speech since January 6th, put the blame squarely on Trump for what happened in that very Senate hall that day. It's a pretty important speech. I want to play the clip for you, but then come back and talk about how Mitch McConnell has to do a lot more before I believe that he's had any kind of remorse for his responsibility during the Trump years.
The last time the Senate convened, we had just reclaimed the Capitol from violent criminals who tried to stop Congress from doing our duty. The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people. And they tried to use fear and violence to stop a specific proceeding of the first branch of the federal government, which they did not like. But we pressed on. We stood together and said an angry mob would not get veto power over the rule of law in our nation, not even for one night. We certified the people's choice for their 46th president. Tomorrow, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris will be sworn in. We'll have a safe and successful inaugural right here on the west front of the Capitol, the space that President Bush 41 called democracy's front porch. And then we'll move forward. Our work for the American people will continue as it has for more than 230 years. There are serious challenges that our nation needs to continue confronting, but there will also be great and hopeful opportunities for us to seize. Certainly, November's elections did not hand any side a mandate for sweeping ideological change. Americans elected a closely divided Senate, a closely divided House, and a presidential candidate who said he'd represent everyone. So our marching orders from the American people are clear. We're to have a robust discussion and seek common ground. We are to pursue bipartisan agreement everywhere we can and check and balance one another respectfully where we must. And through all of this, we must always keep in mind that we're all Americans. We all love this country, and we're all in this together.
So he's right there. Like he's technically correct. Like he's correct in saying, look, Donald Trump and other powerful people basically provoked hundreds, if not, 1,000 or more people from storming in here. He did that. But there's not enough of a reckoning. There isn't. It's not enough to simply blame Trump and quote unquote other powerful people. You have to actually take ownership because frankly, Mitch, you are one of those powerful people. You are. 100%. You're not on the tier 1, I would say, of people who are responsible for what happened on January 6th. I would say, for instance, Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley are 100% on that tier 1 along with Giuliani and Trump and many people in right-wing media. But you're up there, Mitch, because you, when the chips were down back in November, didn't recognize the result as soon as it became clear, which is something you did in 2016. You recognized it minutes after the network called, and Hillary conceded the next day. And there was no doubt about the transition of power, even if all the technical steps hadn't finished yet, before the Electoral College vote, before the January 6th certification, and on and on and on and on and on, right? So you had an opportunity to do that, and you could have set the tone for the rest of the Senate, and you didn't. Yes, you may not have engaged in the out-and-out lies that some other Republicans did, although you really kind of rode that edge sometimes, but you never took leadership to say, Joe Biden won back in November. All of this is madness. Donald Trump needs to stop. My fellow senators need to stop. The people in the House need to stop. Conservative media needs to stop. And we need to move on and focus on the 2 Georgia Senate races and focus on running the country for the next 2, 4, 6, 8 years, whatever. That's what he should have said. Both politically, I think that was smarter, frankly, but also just morally. And because people like him didn't, the only way it got to where it got in part was because they allowed it to fester. And so it's not enough here. It's not enough to just at literally the last 18, 24 hours of Trump presidency say, oh yeah, Trump did it. It's not enough. Maybe he's getting ready to vote for impeachment to confirm it. Maybe he's trying to cover himself because he's not going to vote for it, but he'll blame Trump at least, in a moral sense. Maybe he's signaling to people in his Senate caucus that it's okay to be a Republican and vote to confirm the impeachment of Donald Trump. But the point is, until he starts directly naming those other powerful people, and frankly includes himself to some degree, there's not going to be any healing or unity. Cori Bush, AOC, Ilhan Omar, a lot of people have said, we want unity, but we can't have unity with fundamentally hateful people, and there can't be unity or healing without accountability. At the very least, until he starts saying that Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, his Senate colleagues, are among those powerful people, and they should be expelled, and he agrees with them being expelled, nothing has been learned here. All this is damage control. All it is damage control. Mitch McConnell knows that Donald Trump being thrown out and being able to absorb like a sponge a lot of the blame is better for the Republicans in the medium and long term especially, and so he's engaging in that. But until he starts to admit that Donald Trump and what happened on January 6th would have been impossible without him and other Republican leaders, nothing is going to change.